What's up?
Hey guys, how you doing? We're down a third man today, so we kind of had to do things on our own. So Kyle will be our cameraman slash.
Yeah, cameraman slash host. So, pretty good weekend of fights, man.
Dude, like I said, it was gonna be a stacked card. I knew it from the beginning. It was gonna be good. I enjoyed the hell out of that.
Yeah, it was a solid weekend of fights. The boxing matches were fun. The UFC card was awesome. My cat's being a crackhead.
So, for further ado, hi guys, welcome to our podcast where we indulge in all of the martial arts news like always. Hello, kitty kitty. We're gonna call her Podcast Kitty. Podcast Kiddo.
Princess Leia's being very eccentric right now. So let's quick bottom to top. UFC 225, solid pay-per-view.
Super solid,
Yeah.
actually. Besides maybe like one or two fights out of the entire event, it was pretty stacked.
I watched every fight on the card except the CM Punk fight. I didn't get to watch the pay-per-view live, and I was like, I'm not gonna waste my time.
Yeah, not even gonna bother. I read enough about it, and I've seen enough clips and whatnot to be like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah, that probably sounds super critical, but again, you know, it just...
I know what I want to watch, what I don't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you know,
I don't know. There's just sometimes I feel like they give people...
Before we shit on that fight too much...
I wasn't even going to shit on. I'm just saying I feel like they give people opportunities that sometimes they don't really necessarily need.
Anywho.
I don't know.
So, first fight of the card, Dan Iggy and Mike Santiago. It was, quick.
50 seconds.
Yeah, Iggy took him down, ground and pounded him.
Pretty
Not much
basic
to talk about there. Oliveira, the jiu-jitsu came through.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
We called it.
Sad to see Clay Guida lose, but it was still a pretty good fight.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Oliveira just put the pressure on him in the stand-up. You know, he wasn't worried about getting hit by a power shot, and Guida shot a...
He looked very technical. His punches were very clean. He was waiting for the right. He wasn't just like wildly throwing with Guida. He was picking his shots, and he looked really, really crisp.
He's always had some solid fundamental stand-up. It's just like guys that can pop. That's got some pop on their strikes.
Yeah.
You know, like the Cub Swanson. Who else has knocked him out? Paul Felder stopped him. You know, he's always struggled with guys who are just who got that mean streak in their stand-up, who are gonna attack him
hard,
and who are not gonna be afraid of his jiu-jitsu. So good first round sub for Oliveira. Pettis and Benavidez.
That was a really good fight. I did not expect that to be as good as a fight as it was.
Yeah, and you know
excuse my language. He looked fucking great.
Yeah, he looked really good. There was a little, I don't want to say controversy because I really think controversy gets overplayed these days. When it's just like it was a close fight.
Yeah.
I think you could make a case for Benavidez getting rounds 2 and 3, and then you could make the case for Pettis getting rounds 1 and 2.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I feel like Pettis had the heat on a little bit more on the first fight. I feel like it could have went 50-50. Or on the first round, sorry. I feel like it could have went like 50-50 on the second, and then Benavidez really kind of picked up his game a little bit in the third.
Tough fight to call. I know I picked Pettis. I thought, the sport was kind of catching up to Benavidez. He was getting towards the tail end of his career, and we kind of saw that in the first round when Benavidez was coming out really aggressive, that chin up, the striking being a little bit wild. He got dropped by that right hand.
He felt like, it seemed to me like he was like anxious, like he just felt like he was trying to rush it, But other than that, I enjoyed it. It's sad to see Benavidez lose, but that's okay.
Yeah, I hate seeing my alpha male guys lose.
What was up? I'm sorry, but what was up with that? Like the peroxide bleached Eminem hair, dude. It was killing me because it made him look like
Eminem bleached blonde haircut.
It made him look like an overly tan surfer dude because the blonde. It was bad. Not being mean, just having fun.
But I'm not going to complain about the decision. It was a close fight.
I don't
Good
have
on
any qualms.
Sergio. I really wish this would have got onto the Fox Sports 1 card. But, you know, it is what it is.
We might see him the next time.
Yeah, congrats to Pettis and Benavidez. You know, he's a fighter. He'll bounce back. You know, he'll fight for as long as he feels he needs to. And, you know, he was competitive in this fight with a young, up-and-coming cat.
He didn't just, you know, like we said, get stomped. It was, like I said, it was a close fight.
But, next. Anthony Smith and Rashad Evans.
Bro, this hurt.
I never want to be that guy who tries to dictate to a professional athlete what they need to do. You know, we're sitting here from the comfort of my couch,
We're not getting
talking
punched
about
at.
these fights.
we're not getting it. We're not getting it.
I think it's come time for Rashad Evans to retire because
It was rough.
yeah,
it was hard to watch.
His shots looked bad, and that knee in the clinch, you could see it coming from a mile out.
Oh yeah, he had his head tilted over to the side, like you know it's fixing to come, and
Yeah,
he didn't do anything to try to defend it. He was janky with his takedowns. He wasn't being explosive like he needed to be, and it was just. It was hard to watch.
Retire,
man.
brother.
It was hard to watch. I don't want to see him get beaten up no more.
I think that drops him to like 3-7 in his last 10 fights, and he's on a multiple fight losing streak.
Yeah,
brother, you're gonna go down as a legend. You're a former champ. You know, just right off into the sunset, man. You've got a great career with doing, you know, fight analysis, and there's no reason to put your brain through any more trauma. You know,
I mean, at the end of the day, as much as I love seeing everybody, and I'm pretty sure everyone feels like this, as much as we love watching everybody fight, it comes to a point where we're like, all right, you're just going in there and getting injured and hurt.
like BJ Penn a while back. Just,
Yeah.
God, you know, when you're getting pieced up badly by Dennis Seaver, man, you know?
Fight, it's just not okay.
And that's not a knock on Dennis Seaver, but it's like you think BJ Penn, you don't think is of him losing to a guy like Dennis Seaver. Like, not knocking on Dennis Seaver, but not like the caliber of guy that BJ Penn has lost to in the past. And we're seeing this with Rashad Evans, who's beat Rampage, you know, had great fights with Forrest Griffin, and, you know...
Everybody.
It's
sucked. It sucked, dude. I was hurt. The minute this fight started playing, I was like, it's going to be all right. And I was like, what? And I was not ready. I was not ready for it.
When we were breaking down this fight, we were both like, you know, we lost faith in Rashad, and this is what happens when I think Rashad might have lost a little faith in himself, you know?
It's not that I lost faith in him or anything, because remember, I was the one that picked him. I wanted him to win.
You picked Rashad?
Yeah, man.
Oh, man, I don't know why I let you do that.
Yeah, dude, I picked Rashad just because, like, it's one of those things where, like, he was one of the first people I started watching when I started watching MMA.
Yeah.
And it sucks to see people like that lose, man.
I remember when Rashad Evans' knockout over Chuck Liddell was in, you know, one of the fight magazines that I used to stroll by Walmart and pick up and read while my mom and sisters were shopping. You know, they had the big spread with that overhand right coming down on Chuck's chin. You know, it's
just rough. It's rough.
Anyway,
that was the Fight Pass preliminary card. Yeah. Pretty good card. Next one's the Fox Sports 1, which, once again, all these cards on this event were fantastic. I enjoyed every single fight on this one. Yeah,
you know, even, like, I didn't watch the CM Punk fight, so
I'm not including that. Yeah. I didn't even, it's not even in the equation.
But, you know, even the sloppiest or least entertaining fight was a lot better than some of the bad ones I've seen.
Oh, yeah.
And that is with recognition that I didn't watch the CM Punk fight. So, moving on to the first fight of the Fox Sports 1 prelims. And I'm drinking that haterade pretty strong. I'll go in depth on specifically about that fight once we get to it. Chris De La Rocha stopped Rashad Coultier, the Daywalker, and there's a little joke that was made in the commentary about that.
Man.
We're not going to touch on it.
I'm not even going to repeat it just because not my story to tell. I actually called this one too, just because the dude's last name. I like De La Rocha. It's a sick last name. Yeah,
you like the last name. And I was like, I've seen Coultier fight before, so I'll go with him. But the problem in that fight was Coulter is just like, I'm going to hit him really hard, knock him out.
And plus they're both big boys. And
Yeah.
going that late into the round, you're going to get tired quick.
Well, he came out throwing them bungalows.
Throwing the bungalows.
Throwing the bungalows.
I love Jack
And,
Slack. He's the best.
He's awesome. Shout out to Robin Black, who also got a shout out on the pay-per-view card. It was a fight where De La Rocha, he came in a little bit more composed, had a little bit more thorough of a game plan, and just pulled it out. It's pretty simple.
It was your typical heavyweight fight, I want to say.
Yeah, kind of, typical bottom of the card heavyweight fight.
Nothing crazy happened. It was entertaining. It was a good fight.
Yeah, Mirsad Bektic and Ricardo Lamas. I picked Bektic on this.
Yeah, I had Lamas. I was a little disappointed, but it's okay.
Yeah, I did see Bektic kind of slow down just a little bit down the stretch, which is what got him caught up in the Darren Elkins fight. Didn't slow down as bad as in the Elkins fight, but it was one of those fights. It was like, anything you can do, I can do better.
That's what I noticed. Like they both seem to be equally skilled in a sense.
Yeah.
Like one was stronger in one aspect where the other one was weaker, and vice versa. It just kind of came down to which one was more athletically
gifted.
Yeah. Which one had the better prowess.
It came down to, as I'm watching the fight unfold, I've watched it a couple times now. Just better the game of Bektic, coming up in the sport, being the younger cat, the fresher cat to the game. It's his game is just put together a little bit better, to where it's like you saw in Lamas, where he's just like spin kick, and
out of random time.
Yeah, and then he threw that one kick in. I think it was the third round that got him taken down. It was a solid fight. They had some great exchanges, and Lamas towards the end of it was starting to get the kind of the momentum. He was getting the rhythm under his grasp at the third round.
It was definitely entertaining.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I had fun the entire time watching it. It was a good fight. Shout out to both those people.
We're guys that we can watch just about any fight and be like, oh yeah, that was fun.
That was a good fight.
Yeah.
Like 99% of the time, if you show me a fight, I'll be like, that was a good fight. Because I love it. I love watching fights. It doesn't really matter if it's a backyard street fight or a professional one. I'd be like, it was fun.
Yeah, but good win for Bektic. I thought split decision was a little weird, but it's judging.
Now, see, this is the first time I actually got to watch Bektic fight in a full fight. I actually was really impressed.
The only other fight you'd seen before was when he dusted Pepe.
Mm-hmm. But no, I was impressed. He looked really good. I'm excited to see him fight again.
Yeah.
Plus some featherweights, bro. You can't. You like it's the lower weight classes, like Joe Rogan was saying during the event. Those lower weight classes are brutal, man, because the pace they keep at, the conditioning, everything that they have going on
is just
Shark
Tank, man.
Super fast. That and the division is deep. It's so deep. There's so much talent in there. I love watching
This is two losses in a row for Lamas.
It's either go back to the game plan and try to figure something out, or
you're gonna have to pick up a couple of new things, and just make a few adjustments on the current game, because we've seen older fighters, use that veteran grit, that wiliness, to pull out big wins towards the end of their careers. And I think it's safe to say, it's not the end of Lamas' career. He's still fighting, but it is, past that prime time period.
No fighter's perfect. Everybody's gonna have their moment where they're like, yeah, you got a couple of losses in a row. It happens.
Yep.
You're never too old to go. Like I said, go back to the game board and try
drawing board,
game board, whatever, man. So and figure out your game. I'm getting my words mixed up. I'm thinking too quick.
Yeah, it's like 3 a.m.
Yeah, look, I gotta get together on like my stuff. I gotta get
your life together, bro.
Yeah, pretty much.
Good win for Bektic. Hate to hear it for Lamas. Female fight, Claudia Gadelha and Carlos Esparza.
I enjoyed that.
That was a fun fight, man.
Super fun fight. Claudia Gadelha came out there super strong in the beginning. She was her gas tank.
She came out a little too strong. At one point, got hit by that right hand.
Yeah.
Like flush right hand from Esparza.
See, the thing about it's kind of like the Belichick and Lamas fight. Both of them are similar in style and physique. You can tell Claudia Gadelha is bit more of the athlete than Esparza is, but like they have in a sense like they're just wild. They like go in there swinging, and with that kind of style, when you have both of that, it comes down to like a cardio thing and which one can pace themselves better and things like that. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, for the first round, you see Claudia came out in a little bit more like a textbook boxer stance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was very heavy on her front foot, chin down, low hands. Kinda. It was very similar to just a straight up boxing stance.
Yeah, and Esparza at first was, she seemed pretty hesitant on like the approach, but she landed that right hand in the corner. Was like, all right, throw out the wrestling. Let's focus on the boxing.
Just throw some hands, and that's exactly what she did.
What ended up happening in this fight was the main criticism of Gedalia is she started to slow down.
See, I thought Gedalia had the first round for sure.
Yeah.
After that, it was kind of a toss-up, kind of 50-50 between the two. Me personally, I thought Esparza got the second round. Just for the last half of it, she started to, because Gedalia started to slow down so much, I feel like that's what edged her at the end of the second round. And then she definitely had the third one.
Yeah, I had it pretty much the same. That there was that strong moment where in the first round where Carla caught Claudia, but Claudia recovered. She had landed some good right hands before getting hurt herself. I thought she took the first round. The second round, Carla came out pretty strong, and then Gedalia took over, and then at the end of the round, Carla got that reversal, ended up on top. So it's like, how do you score the second round? And the third round...
the second round was tough. Third round, though, was clearly Esparza.
Yeah, Esparza did very well in the third round. So I'm not going to cry robbery. I think that is some shit that's overused these days. Pardon my French, but I really get tired of any time somebody doesn't agree with the decision. It's like, oh my god, this is fucking bullshit.
Well, it's because half the time the people that they have judging, and this has been something that's been long cried about in the UFC, a lot of times they have judges who have never fought before. They have no martial arts.
Well, I don't even think
like
that's
it's
not
because
necessary.
but it adds to the wonky judging of everything, because you can't lie. There have been, that's why they say don't leave it in the judge's hands, because it can go either way when that happens. But one thing that kind of struck me with Esperanza, with Carla, was that in the third round, right before it started, her corner, they told her to stick and move, throw a couple punches, move out, throw a couple punches, move out, and that's exactly what she did. And
she's very coachable.
It won. It that stuck with her. Like, it did her well. And because that's exactly what she started doing, and that's what won her the third round. Claudia couldn't get a stick on her.
Yeah, there's a couple points. So, well, it's just, you said a couple things, and then I want to touch. Like, the first thing on the judging is like, we don't have a large crop of veteran judges who have a lot of experience judging MMA.
Yeah.
Most of our judges come over from boxing, and we're still in that phase where, not every judge has a good understanding of really how to score MMA, and so that is a big factor. The criteria is also a little odd, but as far as the fight itself, we were talking about later on after we were rewatching some of these fights, it's like the consistency throughout the rounds. While Esparza, when she had moments, it was clear.
Yeah, she had a lot of wow moments.
Yeah, she had some control. Claudia did, in general, have a finger on the pulse of the fight a little bit better.
Yeah, she had a constant pressure, constant offense throughout the entire fight instead of just a small pocket of wow moments. And I think that's why she got the decision. Like you said, not crying about it, not calling robbery.
She had an easier time taking the lead, setting the rhythm, whether it was with those, she had some great takedowns in that fight. She could get her to the fence. She landed her own strikes on the feet where, any time that Esparza did something, you're like, all right, she's breaking the rhythm. It was that kind of like, man, she's doing well.
Yeah.
So...
I think we both called Gedalia for this one.
I'm not going to argue with the decision. At first watch, I was like, yeah,
but after you watched it a couple times, you start to see all the different little nuances. So you're like, okay, I get it. Not going to cry. My fighter won, so I'm not bitching.
Yeah, I think I was 8-3 overall in my picks for this card.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Curtis Blades, we called that one,
Man,
bro.
that was actually a really, really good fight. It went exactly how I thought it was, except for the fact that I thought Overeem was going to be a lot more productive, I guess. Especially in the first round. The first round, he didn't do a whole lot, man. He seemed
yeah,
like... I'm not sure if it was just he was timid or if he was just trying to read Blades more or what.
That was a big-ass dude he had in front of him, man.
It's a real big dude, and especially because how he is from going from standing to going for a takedown, you never really know what's going to come at him, so you have to be wary and really have a plan going against the guy, and you could see that it was like Overeem kind of had a hard time catching his footing, you know what I mean? At least in the first round, it seemed to me.
In the first round, he clearly was like 100% focused on countering the takedown.
Yeah.
You know? And then he got that scoop. You know, he got scooped by Blades.
Man, that was such a nice takedown.
Yeah, it was one of those things, as I'm seeing it, I'm like, okay, Overeem clearly wants to counter him as he steps in on this takedown.
He wanted to land that uppercut. He had it
he
down
was
so
like,
low. It was so weird.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it kind of seemed like Overeem just couldn't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
You know, whether it was part of the game plan, it's like, hey, let's you know,
try
retreat
to
and make him make a mistake, but when Blades got the opportunity, got the takedown, you know, it's one of those things where, as it unfolded later in the fight, and as what we've seen with Overeem in the past, is he does get tired.
Oh, yeah.
And in the second round, Overeem had a good step-in knee, you know, because I can imagine what his corner was saying to him, and I remember what I was thinking to myself as I was watching this fight on the first viewing. He's like, all right, he's going to come out, and he's got to establish some shit, because he clearly lost that first round. He came out, hit a good strong knee, step in, and then landed a really hard right that kind of, you know, the two of them together had Blades in some trouble, but Blades got the takedown.
Mm-hmm.
So Overeem was just a little bit too aggressive. And, you know, he went, it might have been at the end of the first round where he went for the heel hook, or...
I think it was the second round he went for the heel hook, because he went for a takedown and they went to scramble and he let go of one move.
It might have been both, actually.
He went and rolled back and tried to get the heel hook. And it was a good attempt. It looked like it was there, but Alistair got out.
It's another one of those things, as we talk about the rhythm, you know, the fight is like a dance, or, you know, it's like Hickson says, we go to 1, to 2, to 3, to 4. Mm-hmm. You know, Blades kind of had his fingers on the pulse. He was like, all right, I have something figured out. He had the timing. And as the third round came in, you know, Blades is more confident, obviously. He's starting to throw some shots. He shoots, Overeem kind of stuffs it, and as they separate, Blades threw a couple punches at him, and he's like, hey, I'm in range. I can touch this guy. And then as they kind of shifted over towards the fence, Blades caught him with that right hand. Overeem covered up, as he has done many times against the cage. Blades threw a couple of hard shots, but he changed the rhythm. He went and he got that takedown. And
yeah,
that
he
sealed
didn't.
the
Because
deal.
a lot of times when somebody has, when their opponent against the cage like that and they know they're hurt and they can smell that blood in the water, they'll just stand there and bang with him until they drop. And it was really smart of him to, while he was doing that, he threw a couple of combos and then he dropped level and went for that takedown and he got it beautifully. Like, it was a smooth takedown.
He's a great wrestler.
But it just showcases his skill with adapting his wrestling with everything else and how he's
learning to mix it up a little bit.
How he's growing as a martial artist. And it's impressive because a lot of times you don't see that. A lot of, like I said, they smell that blood in the water and they just go for it. So it shows a lot of fight IQ. And
well, we've seen it on the flip side as well. Like a case in point, like Michael Johnson versus Justin Gaethje. Yeah. Michael Johnson hurt Justin Gaethje really bad, but he went for the takedown and he gave Gaethje, also good wrestler, time to recover and kind of get his wits about him. This was a very calculated thing here for Blades. It shows that kind of potential that we talk about a lot. You know, he's thinking.
Yeah, he's getting a high fight IQ, but like you said, going for the takedown when they're hurt like that against the cage, it can be a double-edged sword because that can give them time to recover and to kind of like catch their breath and figure out their game plan again. So good win by Curtis Blades.
Yeah, the elbows that.
Oh my God! Yeah, I almost forgot. Yeah, at the third round, he landed another takedown, and he was on top mount, cracked his guard open, and landed one elbow, and you kind of see it like his head kind of bounced, And then he just landed a few more, and his forehead just split open, dude. He was bleeding all over the place.
Yeah, good stoppage by the ref. There was no reason to just let him get flatlined. There's no reason to see Overeem, like, twitching and shit.
Oh, like that one fight last weekend? The dude, or it was a couple weekends ago, I think. Somebody got knocked out, and they were, like, twitching. It was scary looking.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see that. Even, like, fighters and people who love martial arts, nobody wants to see, like, a fighter twitch and all.
I do sometimes. It's kind of funny.
It's funny, but at the same time, you're like,
yeah,
is he dead?
We don't need to see Overeem take the kind of, like, flatline damage like he did against Ngannou.
No, because he's not a young dude anymore.
He's been knocked out, 13 or 14 times now.
Eventually, that starts to cause brain damage, kids.
He probably has some brain damage at this point.
I wouldn't be surprised, man.
Like, he's been shut off quite a few times.
When your profession is to literally get put to sleep by another person, or put them to sleep, you're gonna get some brain damage.
All right, so
that was the last fight on the Fox Sports 1 prelim card. Now for the main event, or not the main event, the main event.
Main card.
Main card, sorry.
So let me just touch up on the CM Punk thing for a minute.
No.
I didn't watch this fight. I was reading on Twitter, like I had to. Did I have to work? Yeah, I had to work. So No, actually, it was Army weekend for me.
Oh yeah.
And so I was home. But I couldn't afford the pay-per-view, and I didn't have the money to go out and watch it. So I just sat at home and was on Twitter, catching highlights and all that shit.
You have no life.
What am I going to do in my downtime? I got off.
We watch fights. That's what we do in our downtime, Kyle. That's what we do.
Yeah, but you're breaking my train of thought, goddammit. So, anywho, everything I read about this fight was like, this is just... I don't want to... I hate just sounding like a dude who just shits on stuff. I don't want to be that guy. I want to give some thoughtful, insightful, analysis, commentary, breakdowns, such stuff on it. But, this is just not a fight that should have been on a fucking UFC pay-per-view, man. I'm sorry. It
barely should have been on a prelim.
It should have been on some regional amateur circuit or something like that. It's just... CM Punk's just... he's trying to be a fighter, and he's stepped out there and he's fought twice, so I can, we can say he's a fighter, but it doesn't mean he's a good fighter.
Yeah.
And he clearly doesn't have the skills to compete against people who have even the most minimal skills.
Yeah, I like what Joe Rogan said about it. I'm not going to repeat it because I didn't say it. Joe Rogan said it, but I like what he was talking about.
Yeah,
he had a very professional and intelligent insight on the whole matter. If you probably find it on Facebook or Google somewhere. It was entertaining.
Bloody Elbow or Cheer Dog or some shit like that.
Y'all are internet savvy. You got this.
Yeah, I stopped giving the man fights in the UFC. And I know Dana White was very critical of Mike Jackson afterwards. He's like, that guy got out there and just kind of made an ass out of himself in some ways. That's, paraphrasing what Dana White said, but I didn't care about the fight. I said I'd watch it if it was in front of me, but I couldn't get the pay-per-view, so I don't care. Didn't bother looking it up and watching it. I just got a bunch of other fights to review.
Yeah.
Anyway, Tai Tuivasa and Andrei Arlovski. Good fight.
This was a really good fight. Really good fight. Sad to see Arlovski lose, but he didn't.
He looked good, man.
Yeah, he didn't lose in like a shit.
Yeah, I was wrong I was right with who I thought would win, but I was wrong with the prediction.
With how, I feel that. No, it was he looked really good for how, not to sound mean or anything really, but just for how old he is and how long he's been doing this. He looked
39
sharp.
years old.
He was using every savvy veteran tool that he could use in that, and it was intelligent. You could tell the difference in experience level between the two. Well, you can obviously tell that
not only experience, but just like depth of skill.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that Tuivasa was on the lower part
the
of the
greener
scale.
guy.
Yeah, but great performance on both of those guys. I have no complaints about this fight. I really can't remember a whole lot of the little bitty aspects of it, other than they were throwing bombs bombs at each other.
Yeah, Arlovsky came out and he looked for clinch strikes. He looked for takedowns. He threw leg kicks. He threw some great combinations. Tuivasa, he went for a takedown here. Threw a couple of body shots. Threw some nice elbows. But this is a huge learning experience for him. This was like, I gotta look. I think this was only like his 7th fight.
See, a lot of people were saying they were worried about his gas tank. They thought that was going to be
8th fight. That was his 8th fight.
They thought that was his gas tank and his cardio and everything was going to be a factor in this fight, but really it wasn't. Even in the last bit of the 3rd round, he had a lot of energy. He was light on his feet. He was moving around a lot. He was being really active.
This is gonna sound like I'm throwing shade at Arlovsky, and I'm not trying to. I'm just making a point here. Arlovsky's been knocked out more times than Tuivasa's fought professionally.
And that's just saying how much.
It's just it's a data comparison. Andrei Arlovsky's one of my all-time favorite heavyweight fighters.
Don't find us and beat us up, please.
Yeah, dude, I've got Arlovsky fights on DVD over there on my shelf. I fucking love the guy. The mouthpiece, the fangs, I love him.
Oh, shit.
It was one of those things where it's the younger guy managed to pull out the win because it was fucking close.
That's what I've noticed that's like a theme of this entire card was close fights. A lot of them went the distance.
Yeah,
a lot of them were very, very close.
We'll touch up on. But could I have seen it go to Arlovsky?
Maybe.
Possibly. Yeah, I thought the first round was, a good round for Tuivasa. I thought Arlovsky came out in the second and did very well, and then the third round was one of those things where it's just like, they're doing the thing where you put your hand on top of the end of the baseball bat, and it's, you either run out of hands or you run out of time, and Tuivasa's definitely gonna have to round out his game a little bit. He's got some kinks here and there, but it's only his 8th fight.
Yeah.
So he's I think 24 years old. He's got a ton of room
25.
to grow.
25. A lot of room to grow.
And for Arlovsky, I hate to see the man lose because I am a gigantic fan, but
this isn't like he's not on a lose streak now, is he?
No, that's just it snapped a 2-fight win streak.
I'm not upset with the decision. Like you
said,
no. Another day, maybe it could have been differently. But other than that, I enjoyed that fight a lot. It was fun. I wasn't heartbroken like I was watching the Rashad fight, so I'm okay.
Yeah, he didn't get knocked out in the first round like I thought what would happen. I think fighters like Overeem and Arlovsky do tend to get like that chinny wrapped where it's just like, oh, they can't take a hard punch, but there's a psychological thing that goes into that. There's, exactly what moment, how stuff was going on in the fight, because the guys that have shut Arlovsky and Overeem off, they're not pillow-fisted. There's no shame in getting knocked out by Stipe Miocic.
And Tuivasa definitely hits hard.
Yeah,
he hits super hard.
That's a big old boy.
Like you said, he reminds me of a young Mark Hunt.
Yeah, he's got that kind of style to him. And, I look forward to seeing what's next for Tuivasa. I don't know who they'll match him up with. God, I don't even know who's free in the division. Because I don't want to see him get moved up too quick.
Yeah.
Because...
be not ready for the challenge that he gets.
Well, we're going to talk about in the next fight.
But, also, a side note, like how Tuivasa has a lot of potential, there was a lot of potential in this next fight also. While there was, she definitely wasn't ready, there was a lot of potential.
She wasn't ready.
So the fight we're talking about was the next fight on there, the Holly Holm versus Megan or Megan? Is it Megan or Megan?
I hear it pronounced Megan.
So Megan Anderson. This fight went Okay, no, I'm sorry. This fight didn't go exactly how...
You picked right.
I picked right.
I picked wrong, but we both got the how wrong.
But the way... We completely forgot that Holly Holm is not just a kickboxer, but a mixed martial artist, and that she has ground game and jiu-jitsu.
I don't think it was so much that we forgot that she has it. It's just we didn't expect it, because when was the last time you saw Holly Holm on the ground in top position?
Yeah, never.
Exactly.
And that was where she spent the majority of this fight.
Yeah, and looking back, one of the biggest flaws in the early part of Megan Anderson's career, where her 2 losses came from, where it's just chicks got on top of her. You know, they took her down. And it's, you know, this was her 11th pro fight. This was Holly Holm's 16th MMA fight.
Yeah,
you know?
Not including professional.
Yeah, not including boxing matches where she had, like, you know, I think it was over 40 boxing matches for world titles.
Yeah, you can clearly tell the difference in skill level and expertise level and all of it. Like, you can definitely tell that this was Megan Anderson's first time fighting like a world-class level fighter, and it was obvious. But at the same time,
she came out banging.
Dude, she put on a great performance. Like, she made that a fun fight. She didn't just get her ass completely beat. She
got dominated.
She got dominated, but it wasn't like, oh my god.
It wasn't getting your face beat to a bloody pulp, having no shot in the fight at all. Because she came out quick. She threw those strikes and had Holly in some trouble against the fence, and Holly was like, all right, while I do have a greater depth of skill here on the feet, she's a bigger, longer girl. I have to take her out of an area where it's more chancy for me to compete with her in.
Yeah.
Which is what Holly clearly noticed within the first few minutes of the fight. She's like, while I can take the chance of just moving around, outpointing her, which she probably could have done, it was less risky for her to take the fight to the ground, and that was something that I didn't even think about coming in.
I know. I can't believe I didn't either. I felt so silly watching this fight, and then when she took her down, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, I completely forgot that happened.
For me, at first, I was like, "Man, you're getting out wrestled by Holly Holm." Because, like I said, I didn't get to watch the fight live, and then I went and I watched the fight, and I was like, "Okay, so Holly's been improving on her clinch fighting capabilities." You know, she scored a couple of trips from in the clinch. One not really being a trip, more just like a drag.
Yeah, she muscled her to the ground a couple of times.
She caught several of those step-in knees of Megan Anderson's and went in from there, transitioning to a single, you know, just plowing her to the ground.
Anderson did. I'm still impressed with her performance, man. She lasted all the way to the 3rd round. She went the distance with a world champion, basically.
She got dominated on the ground, but she didn't get blown out.
No. You know? And see, that's what gives me hope that we're gonna see her again. And coming from the thing about fighting is what I love about it is so beautiful is the fact that you can get your shit stomped in and come back 10 times better because you learn so much more when you lose. You learn what not to do, what worked, what didn't work. When you win, you just won. You don't really learn much. Everything that you did worked, and okay, keep it going. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to fix yourself and revamp yourself. And so I feel like next time we see Megan Anderson, she's going to put on a hell of a performance.
You know, this was a huge step up in competition for her.
Considering the last time she fought, no offense, she fought a soccer mom basically, and it was a rough fight to watch. No offense, it just was. Like, especially when you're used to watching high class fights, and then you go to that, and you're just like, okay, this is definitely a lower pay grade.
You see the potential.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, definitely. That was our theme last episode, was the fact that there's so many fighters
the
out there.
The Bektiks of the world,
all kind
the
of
Curtis
potential.
Blades, Anderson, Tuivasa, you know.
We're definitely in a new era of fighters that are coming out and starting to create themselves and make a new guard for the sport now. It's an exciting time. It's a sad time because we're seeing all these people that we used to watch go out.
Well, see, this is really the first time that you're having to experience this.
I know, it's
watching
wild.
Your fighters that you started watching with kind of trail off. Like,
it's wild.
I remember the fall of Chuck Liddell, you know. I remember when Randy Couture was the heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah, I came in when he was on the last leg of his
career. You probably most remember him for getting front kicked in the face by Lloyd Machida.
Yeah.
I remember Randy Couture, you know, wrestle boxing the crap out of Tim Sylvia and fighting Brock Lesnar, and, you know, watching older fights of his on Spike where he was, you know, fighting Vitor in the early days of the UFC, you know. You're just now experiencing what it's like to see guys you've grown up with fall off.
True heartbreak, really, is what you're saying.
I remember when Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti fought 1, 2, 3, and then, you know, Ward retired after that fight. You know, it's...
But back on track, the Holly... Sorry, I do that all the time. The Holly Holm and Megan Anderson fight was really, really fun to watch. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Yeah. Congratulations to Holly Holm. And hell, congratulations to Megan Anderson for putting up that hell of a fight and going the distance with somebody like that. Hanging tough,
man.
Dude, I'm sorry. I don't care how big I am, what I am, nothing. Holly Holm whooped my ass. She'd walk in this room and beat us both.
The two of them could walk in here right now, and if I can't get to that 12 gauge in the closet over there, we're screwed. I'm just saying. I'm not fist fighting them girls.
Though. You're right. They would knock us silly.
They would beat the hell out of us.
But super fun fight. You guys definitely got to check it out if you haven't already seen bits and pieces.
Sorry to interrupt you. But I know there's some people out there who be like, man, is it boring, blah, blah, blah. It's like, if you don't understand the intricacies of the sport and the little nuances and things like that, you're going to have a harder time enjoying certain fights. But for guys like us, who, like, later on when we talk about the Leo Santa Cruz fight, where we're picking up on his fucking parry pitch counters. I'm going to take
that. I'm sorry. I'm picking that up. I like that because he would keep his backhand on a swivel, and every time his opponent would throw a punch, because he's doing this number when it would come, he would catch it and throw a counter with it. He was
selective with it.
It was so crisp. I love that.
He has a system for it now. We'll break that down a little bit more. But yeah, so
co-main event.
Before we get to the co-main event and the main event, let's just quick run back down. Good job on Iggy with the stoppage. Hats off to Charles Oliveira. Hate to see Guida lose. Hats off to Sergio Pettis. Really hate to see Benavidez lose. Congrats to Anthony Smith. Really hate to see Rashad Evans.
The fight pass one was just sad. It was a bunch of sadness.
It hurt the heart. Congrats to De La Rocha. I'll remember you for the next fight. Coultier, you have to work out some shit, bro. Bektik, Lamas, we feel for you. Claudia and Carla, great fight, girls.
Can't wait to see both of them fight again. I
really
really couldn't care who won or lost that one.
It was just a great fight. Curtis Blades, congrats, and Overeem, man. Take some time off and then think about some stuff, man. That's all I'm gonna say there. CM Punk, you got giant balls for stepping up and doing it, but this might not be the thing for you, man.
Big kahunas, I'll give you that.
Mike Jackson, if you're gonna continue doing this, you have to think about some criticism that you got here. Not that the severe criticism was warranted or that not enough, but just watch the fight and think about some things, man. Tuivasa, good job, mate. Ozzy. Arlovsky, my bro. I remember watching you knock out, Cabbage on UFC Unleashed reruns, and then you fighting Fedor. And, just whatever you're going to do, man, take a little time, think about it. I'm still going to watch you fight if you still want to fight, bro. And Holly Holm.
I can't wait to see her again.
Yeah, she might be lined up for a fight at 135 for the title.
I would not be upset if she got the belt back.
And I know some people are kind of starting to complain that she's got, like, the Uriah Faber title shot syndrome. And shut up. Just shut up.
No one wants to hear it.
Like, I see the comparison that you're making.
But you're wrong.
But shut up.
What he said.
Just shut up. I want to see her fight Amanda Nunes at 135. I think that would be a phenomenal fight. Down the line, I could even be interested in seeing her fight Cyborg again. But it's like, I want to see her fight, okay? I'll be honest.
I'm excited to see who Anderson fights next.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see who Megan Anderson fights next. Maybe,
because they're going to keep her. She ain't going nowhere.
I'm having a hard time trying to think of who Megan Anderson can fight at 145 in the UFC, though.
Oh, she's a big girl. I feel like...
Maybe they could sweet talk Jermaine Durandamine on coming back up to 145 and fighting her.
Yeah. But, co-main event time.
We both got this wrong.
Yeah. As much as I wasn't really following a lot of the smack talk that was going on between the two of them.
Smack talk.
I don't either. It's fun to watch. It's entertaining and everything like that.
You get some good sound bites.
Yeah, but other than that, I just want to see them fight. I could care less. And so I know a lot of people have a lot of sour attitudes and opinions towards Colby Covington, but that boy can fight. Man, I dig the hell out of him. That was awesome. It was a great performance. Sad to see Rafael dos Anjos lose like that, but man, that
Technical
was fun.
breakdown on this fight. Where Dos Anjos struggled here was something that we saw in early losses to like the Clay Guidas, the Gleison Tebows, the Khabib Nurmagomedovs, where he doesn't just kind of get caught and shut off like in the Eddie Alvarez fight.
He
He
doesn't do
just
well
got
with
caught.
pressure.
It's when guys, when they can apply that kind of pressure on him, it breaks down that rhythm of his. The combination striking, the well-timed stuff. He was having a real hard time getting solid counters off, and that was something that we talked about leading in this fight, where I talked about like I was only impressed with Covington to an extent against Damian Maia. What really impressed me with him in that fight, that to the extent, was his grit, his pressure, his willingness to just throw himself into his opponent. And that's what this fight was.
Yeah,
he
didn't
just threw himself.
He did not
Dos
give
Anjos.
Dos Anjos a minute to breathe. It reminded me of like the commentators were saying, it reminded me of the Diaz brothers and how no matter what's going on, no matter where they're at in the cage, they are throwing something at you. They are touching you. They are applying that gas.
He reminded me of someone, but it wasn't the Diaz
Yeah.
brothers. Reminded me of a more... I picked these words very carefully. He reminded me of an improved version of Chael Sonnen.
I get that. I didn't really watch Chael Sonnen as intricately as I've watched the Diaz brothers, so I can kind of get the comparison with that.
Once he's a hard-nosed wrestler.
Yeah.
Southpaw. Striking isn't, you're not going to see him throw a lot of like really intricate, karate
Fancy
or
shit, yeah. It's going to be your basic
spit.
kickboxing.
Yeah, he hard-nosed wrestler, solid cardio, aggressive as fuck.
Yeah, it's for real. It was
And
insane how
solid
much pressure he was
chin.
putting. The dude could take a shot too. Because
Yeah.
Rafael dos Anjos ain't no bitch. Like there was because he came out.
There were some shots that Dos Anjos where he's not like a guy who's he shut some dudes off at 55, but he doesn't have that kind of just like put down power at 70.
Mm-mm.
But Dos Anjos hit him with some shots.
Didn't he baby deer leg him at one point?
Um,
There were so many baby deer leg moments in this card.
Yeah,
I
there were
can't
some great
remember.
baby deer leg moments. For those of you who may be confused about what we're talking about, the baby deer legs or baby giraffe legs is when a guy gets hit really hard and that brain function kind of skips a beat, and you see their knees go, and they're trying to get their control back under him. I don't remember that in this fight.
I don't think he did. Now that I'm thinking about it, but I know he kind of like it seemed
He
like
bullied
he was
Dos
yeah.
Anjos.
It was like because by the second or third round, you could tell that like there was something like morale wrong. Like there was something wrong with how Dos Anjos was approaching the fight. I guess like mentally, he didn't seem like he was as urgent as he could have been. And
We
he didn't
saw-
seem like he was all there.
We saw early in the fight, in the first round particularly, is the only time I can really remember this happening, is Dos Anjos did come out with some circular movement,
Yeah.
but as the fight progressed,
He was just going straight
he just
back.
kept moving straight backwards into the fence, and you cannot move straight back into the fence. We've seen a lot of great fighters fail to use circular or angled footwork and get caught against that. Junior Dos Santos has a problem with it. I mean, we could go down a list and probably find a bunch of guys who have a real bad problem with running straight into that fence.
Yeah.
You have to be able to move off, because if Covington's pushing forward on a straight line, you get him moving forward when he was throwing some of those just, banger combinations, just hard-nosed swinging, because Covington's not, he's not a one-shot kind of guy, but he throws hard, and he throws hard often with a lot of volume. So, maybe on one of those combinations where he's stepping in real hard, take an angle off, and hit him with a good shot. And I know Dos Anjos did it a few times, but he wasn't doing it enough, which was the problem.
Yeah, he kind of came back after, I think it was the third round. It was something one of the coaches said to him, saying it was like, get your head in the game. It was something of that sort of, like, wake up, like, get your shit together and get in there. And he started to come in there and improve a little bit. He started to angle out more. He stopped being so linear with it.
Well, Covington in that fourth round did show a bit of fatigue. That pressure kind of died down a little bit.
When you keep up that kind of pace for that long, you're gonna get
not surprising. And Dos Anjos landed a couple of good takedowns in that round. Now, what I kind of thought after that round ended, I was like, now did Dos Anjos burn a lot of energy going for those takedowns and not really getting anything out of them?
Yeah.
Because you saw Covington, like, he didn't even really try and defend him. He got taken down and he got right back up.
Because he knew it wasn't going to actually do any damage. Like, it might win points in the eyes of a judge, but if he's just going to take him down and Covington stand right back up, it really didn't do anything besides win a point. You know what I'm saying? There's no damage there. There's no stopping him. Besides maybe, like, changing the pace of the fight and winning a couple points, takedowns aren't really a whole lot of effective unless you're going to do something with them. But
unless you're going to pass, you land ground and pound. But if you get a takedown and then you stand right back up, like,
what's the point?
I'm not going to put a lot of weight on that. If you take somebody down and they're on the ground for a few seconds, that to me is like the same as getting a good solid punch in.
You can clearly tell that Covington did his homework before coming into this fight. He knew exactly what to do to stop Rafael dos Anjos because he's had troubles with this kind of style in the past, and I think Joe Rogan was talking about, or somebody, one of the commentators was saying that, like, style matchups make fights and things like that, and Colby Covington definitely came in there with a perfect style matchup against Rafael dos Anjos,
and as I'm looking at over Dos Anjos' losses, like I talked, with the Guida fight, with the Khabib fight, Gleison Tibau, he's lost to those guys who will just come out there and put it on it.
Yeah, if he can't get his foot going first, and set that pace, then he's kind of got some issues going. But congratulations to Colby Covington. Like I said before, I don't care who doesn't like him or who has a sour attitude against him at all. I think he's dope. I enjoy watching him fight. I'm excited to see him fight again.
He's going to fight Woodley next. And before we talk about that matchup, Dos Anjos, brother, you keep doing your thing, man. You are a absolutely phenomenal fighter. I will always tune in to watch you fight.
Oh, yeah. Every time.
You've got one of my favorite lightweight knockouts when, he hit George Soteropoulos with that brutal right hook and, take a little time, think about some strategy things, adjust a little bit.
I was waiting for it.
What?
Take a little time, think about it.
Well, that's the thing is, when you have these kinds of tough losses, a lot of guys like the Frank Edgar type, they want to get right back in there and avenge that loss. But, as you get older and you're getting to the points in your career you've taken more damage, that downtime to recuperate, recover your body, and adjust the mental game plan is going to be more crucial than trying to get right back in the gym and learn 5 or 10 new skills. It's the little, tinkering and adjusting that's going to be much more substantial at that stage in the game. This was Dos Anjos' 35th fight.
Yeah.
He's it's going to be hard for him to come out completely 100% revamped. It's just going to be some readjusting and some tinkering and some little spaces. If you want to go out there and take I hate to use this term, like a softball fight where it's like, okay, this is a tough fight, but it's a favorable matchup kind of thing.
Yeah,
I get that.
You're not really throwing him anything, but the favorite is definitely. I get what you're saying.
A clear A versus B side.
Yeah.
But Covington versus Woodley. First thoughts. What do you think?
They both remind me of pressure fighters. Maybe Covington a little bit more than Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley's got that one stop knockout power. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Woodley is.
I feel like it's a
bit of an anomaly to me.
It's hard for me to say exactly what Woodley's gonna do because I know what Covington's gonna do because he's gonna do what most pressure fighters do unless he's the type of person that doesn't fight just one way every single time. If he does his homework on every opponent that he has and changes his game plan up, then he could have a chance of doing it. But you don't. That's the scary part about Woodley is you don't know what he's going to do.
Well, yes and no.
At the same, yeah, I get what you're saying.
But for me with Woodley is he's I hate using these kinds of terms. I've already done it once tonight, but it's like a Josh Koscheck 2.0 type. Really, really powerful right hand. Really, really powerful wrestler. Tough. Good conditioning. And people have been critical on Woodley's conditioning, but I mean, he's fought 3 consecutive 5-round fights. 2 against Wonderboy. 1 against Damian Maia. You know, he's shown he can fight 25 minutes. He knows how to conserve himself.
Yeah.
But a guy like Covington is going to come in there and he's gonna throw himself at him. Now, does that open up Covington to eating that big ass right hand of Woodley's? Does that open up Covington when he's throwing one of those, you know, hard slinging combos to Woodley, just scoop, blast doubling him? It's an interesting stylistic matchup. And
plus, you got to look at not just because I believe in there's an old I think it's an old Chinese proverb. It's a saying, but when 2 people of equal skill come together in a fight, it's usually the larger, more physical, athletic person who wins. And so like you gotta remember like physicality with that too, and like you said, conditioning. You see when this with the Covington Dos Anjos fight. Covington started to slow down after that 4th round. That pacing, he didn't have that in check all the way, I don't think.
I worry about Woodley's conditioning more than Covington's.
Yeah.
Because while, you know, I did just say that Woodley has proven he can fight over 25 minutes like that, he hasn't fought at that kind of pace.
And see, he's going to try to keep up with Covington, too. That's the thing about that, is he might gas himself out.
He's either going to have to tag Covington enough to where Covington backs off, which I think is going to be really difficult to do. I don't know if he's going to be able to hit Covington with the kind of things that's just going to make him not press forward.
Yeah.
You know, because that's Covington's game, is that go mentality, that grit.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a tough one to call, man. I just want to see it happen, to be honest with you. I'm probably going to put my money on Covington.
I kind of feel as if, you know, if Woodley doesn't put Covington out of there early, Covington might be able to take over and wear Woodley down and win a decision. Now, you know, as we've said, you know, Woodley can go the 25 minutes. He's got stopping power, but I just feel as with all the build-up and emotion that's going to be going into this fight, if Woodley doesn't take him out early, or if he goes in there with that mindset that I'm going to take him out, then that could cost him.
Either or, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Tell us what you guys think. Y'all have any opinions?
Yeah, give some damn comments every once in a while.
You don't have to, really. We're still going to make the episodes.
We're going to put up the episodes, but give us some damn comments and shares and stuff.
Even if it's telling us that we're all wrong.
Even if you don't watch it, just comment, y'all guys suck. Or like, if you don't watch it, give us a share. There might be somebody in your timeline who will watch it.
I know Kyle likes to argue. What's up? Let's do this.
Yeah, I'll argue about just about anything when it comes to fight sports.
You wear an orange shirt. Kyle look at you, say it's pink, and look you dead in the eye.
I'm not that kind. I would be arguing with the person wearing an orange shirt that says it's a pink shirt. I'm like, no, it's orange.
But that was the co-main event. Good fight. Congrats to Colby Covington for winning that. Like Kyle said, Rafael Dos Anjos, great guy. Love you as a fighter. Hopefully you can come back stronger in this.
And we do this because there's a lot of the guys out there who commentate, especially like the forum trolls. You know, these guys are human beings. These are their life's dreams they're chasing after here. These are their families that they're trying to support with this. So we want to keep that consciousness about what they're putting themselves. Yeah. I'm a medic with the Army, and some of the shit I see these guys go through, it's like, man, I'd rather ruck up a mountain with a rucksack on.
Yeah,
have
for
to
real.
Get hit in the face 400 frickin' times.
I mean, I kind of get the appeal with it, but I would if somebody had to, like, if I had an offer, like, I'm definitely not going to pick that one
$5 million?
Get punched in the face fight,
Yeah.
No. But that was a good fight. So I think the main fight that we all have been waiting to talk about, I know it's getting considered the fight of the year. Robert Whittaker versus Yoel Romero 2. Holy shit, fight fans. That was such a great. I almost wanted like mid fight before it was even over. That like round 3, I think. I looked at Kyle. I was like, "Can we watch this again?" It was so good. Oh my god, that was a great fight. That went pretty much.
It was similar to the first fight,
as
in after the second round, there was a clear momentum shift.
Yeah. I honestly, man, I'm still kind of like, whoa, about it. It was so good.
In the first fight, Romero took the first 2 rounds with the wrestling pretty clearly. In this fight, Whitaker took the first 2 rounds with the striking pretty clearly.
Yeah.
And then round 3 came around.
Yeah, that you could tell. I think it was round 3 was when he hit him with something.
Romero hit him with a right hook.
Mm-hmm. And then Robert Whitaker just out. Was asleep there for a sec, like midair.
He got dropped.
Like woke back up before he hit the ground and was like, "Oh shit!" It was wild. He got
Romero came out orthodox. He's a southpaw, but he's.
I noticed that he came out.
Boxing.
He was very. It was very still very like. I don't know. It was weird. He didn't look like normal.
He
Romero.
came out right-handed when he's normally.
There was this one. I remember saying something to you about it because it just looked off. He had like straight up was doing this number. I was like, "What is he doing?" And you explained to me it's an old boxing guard and stuff like that. And it made sense the minute you explained it to me. I was like, "Oh,
well,
okay."
As I looked up some stuff on this, if I remember correctly, Whitaker broke his thumb because we noticed as the fight went on that Whitaker stopped throwing the right hand. He started going towards elbows, and the right hand became seldom. So, upon further review and listening to what Rogan and them and others had to say about it, they're thinking that Whitaker broke his thumb hitting Romero's
so he
elbow.
went for a hook or an overhand and hit on there. Damn.
And that is something that we've seen boxers do. We've seen like Floyd in the past kind of stick that elbow out when he's fighting. Guys will run onto the elbow, might punch the elbow.
Well, I mean, in Muay Thai, they do that for like jabs and stuff like that. Say if somebody's coming in, they'll put that elbow up and they'll make you punch your elbow, or even like kicks and things like that. Do that. Punching and hitting that elbow is no joke. Dude.
I thought I broke my
sucks.
foot when I was 15 and I was sparring Ryan in his living room, and I threw a body kick at him and he just dropped it down low like this. He didn't even stick the elbow out, but my foot just so happened to catch.
Yeah, I've had the top of my feet swell up before from kicking people's elbows. It sucks. Yeah, it sucks.
It sucks really bad.
I can't even imagine throwing like a full force punch and connecting with somebody's elbow.
Yeah. I know a lot of people were talking about the third round being 10-8, and I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to explain why I'm going to disagree. Because while Whitaker did get dropped, and he did get hit with some hard shots in that round, he also fought back like a motherfucker.
Yeah, there was no just like getting completely like
it wasn't like
out.
Frankie Edgar Gray Maynard round 1 from their second and third fight.
He was clearly intelligently defending himself while he was hurt.
And yes, he did get hit by he got dropped, and he got hit by about 2 or 3 other strikes in that round where it's like, ooh, that was, ooh.
But you notice when
Whitaker was landing elbows.
That's what I'm saying.
Kicking,
when Romero rushed
back
into him on the cage, like when he get in close, he was landing some sick elbows. Like he landed one that was like an upward, like hand up, inward elbow, clocked him right on the tip of the chin. I was like, oh, it was so clean, dude. But you could tell he wasn't so hurt to where like he couldn't fight back, because he was throwing side kicks even when Romero was rushing him against the cage and everything like that. And if you're cognitive
he
enough
had his wits about him.
Yeah, if you got your wits enough about you to throw a side kick while you're getting swarmed, you're
and
not
it wasn't like that Frankie Edgar round 1 from their second and third fights where all Edgar was doing was avoiding damage. Like all Edgar was doing in those first rounds after he got hurt was escaping the damage.
Yeah.
Now Whitaker was throwing back meaningful offense.
Man, I think the one thing that impressed me the most about this entire fight was Robert Whitaker's combos. They were so clean,
gorgeous.
Like it was impressive. You don't see combo work like that many times. Like most of the time, guys will throw a 1-2, maybe 3, and then they'll back up and throw a head kick or 1-2, back up. Like it's very like
Whitaker would throw the teep to the jab.
It's just so impressive.
back leg kick. He'd throw the 1-2 in that high kick. He'd throw a jab and then the lead. You know, he just mixes it up very well.
But I think one thing that got me the most is the fact that even though his hand was broke, he was still like getting the upper hand with the striking just by throwing the left hand. It was so clean how he was doing that. That jab was on point.
Well, let's not forget that, you know, Romero, he lulls you to sleep, man.
It's like
he lulls you to
it's
fucking
like
sleep.
Joe Rogan was saying, he'll move in almost like an uncharacteristically slow motion, and then boom with superhuman speed. It's ridiculous. It's so weird to watch him fight because like
it's that broken rhythm, the tempo change.
Yeah, instead of a 1, 2, 3, 4, it's like 1, 2, 3.
It's more
you know what I mean?
like
It's just well, what I mean. I'm just using as a
yeah.
It's broken. It's not
it's
something that you can tap your foot to, and it catches people off guard so much. And that's really what landed him the upper hand in a lot of those rounds was the fact that I think Whittaker had a hard time really finding that tempo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the first 2 rounds, Whittaker came out and he's kind of styling on him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the jab and the kicks. You know,
he
jamming the leg.
He threw a lot of low side kicks to the knee, trying to hyperextend.
He's going back to that body kick, the teep to the body,
mm-hmm.
front kick to the body. The 4th round though, shit, we're just now getting to the 4th. You know, it was at that point that it was clearly, you know, the right hand was kind of for Whittaker.
Yeah, he didn't throw anything. 1 or 2 punches, I think, that entire round.
And that was the round, right-handed punch.
With the right hand, that's what I meant.
That was the round where Romero caught him again, and he did the baby deer legs. You know,
that was the baby deer one.
And you know, that one was like he got hit by a hard punch, and he also got hit while he was moving. So there was an element of being a bit off balance. But he was clear, you know. He clearly got rung.
Yeah, I think it was another right hand because I think all the punches that Romero really rocked him with were right hands because this one was the one that like made his head turn almost 180 degrees.
I can't remember on that one specifically because I know the one that dropped him in the 3rd was a right. I can't remember. I think maybe the one in the 4th was a right hand, but the one in the 5th was a left hook.
Yeah, that one was a left hook.
But you know, Romero, his style is just so out there, you know. In the 3rd round, Romero started to clinch, and you know, he started clinch fighting a good bit, you know, just tying up Whittaker when he would get him against the fence, just kind of like slow the momentum down, and then also, you know, look for opportunities to break and throw some hard shots. And you know, he had that right eye that had started swelling up pretty bad towards the end of the 2nd. It might have been the start of the 3rd.
The way his eyes swelled up like that, like
it's swelled up quick.
You'd think that like dude broke his orbital bone because like that's normally what happens when people do break their orbital bone or their eye socket. Like that thing just swells up immediately.
Koscheck against GSP.
And you can see it like because Whittaker landed a left hook with it. It was more like an overhand, but kind of like an overhand hook, like cut punch. But
he had a very good like he dipped down to the left hook.
Yeah, it was almost a hook, but the way his body was positioned, it was almost like a overhand at the same time. But the minute he touched it, like he left back and it just started to swell. It was insane. It was so fast, but he couldn't see. Like there was one time he like started to kind of do this number because Romero just couldn't see out of that eye.
Yeah, but
so many things to talk about.
The 3rd round was clearly a Romero round.
Yeah.
The 4th round was.
That one was the toughest one for me to judge because I feel like Whittaker had the first 2.
Well, it's all about is like how much weight do you give the Whittaker getting hurt? You know, how much weight do you put on that? Because both guys clearly had their moments in that round, and Romero clearly had the biggest moment of the round. But how much weight do you put on that?
It's like we were talking about with the Claudia Gadelha and Carla Esparza fight. It was. Romero had a lot of pockets of wow moments. You know, he had a handful of like really big moments in that fight where Whittaker had a consistent offense throughout the entirety of it. You know what I'm saying? Like he was always doing something to get the upper hand with it.
Yeah, and the 5th round.
Oh my God, the 5th round
was clearly a Romero round.
That was so scary. Like I forgot what he hit him with, but I think
he dropped him with a left hook.
Yeah,
that lunge. Whitaker he had bounced. He was moving out, and Romero just boop left hook, and he went down.
Oh my God, it was so scary. Romero pounced on him, sort of ground and pounded him, and I don't know how he managed to survive.
Whitaker did smart. He buried his head to where only the back of his head was clearly visible.
Yeah.
And was grabbing on the single. See, he went for that single leg, and the only really spot that Romero could clearly target was the back of his head. And as he was moving around, he was only given that area of space to get hit.
Props to the ref for not stopping that early, because I've seen refs stop fights way before that, and that would have been, you would have never given Whitaker a chance to survive that. And so, like, props to the ref for calling that. It was a good call. He didn't call it too early, nothing like that.
For not calling it.
Yeah, for not calling it. You know what I'm saying? It was a good move on his part. But man, when they had their hands there and they called Whitaker's, I was like, oh, yes, because that scared me. Because the way judges are, I figured that last little burst in the 5th round where Romero hurt him and had him on the ground and was just beating the shit out of him there for a minute, I thought that was going to sway real heavy in the eyes of the judges.
Yeah, it might have been the 5th round that they were thinking about it, calling a 10-8. I try not to listen to the commentary too much these days because I want to focus on what I'm seeing and not what I'm hearing. Because if you focus too much on like the crowd noise or what people in the booth are saying, you could lose track of what you're actually seeing. You know, what they're saying might be subjective to what you are seeing.
That's why I like it when you just put on like the Joe Rogan Experience or a Fight Companion.
Yeah, the Fight Companion. They're talking about making dick jokes and conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
But another really fucking hard to score fight.
Man, honestly, I don't know. I'm not really too upset with the decision. I feel like it was fair. I'm
with Chael Sonnen on this one. If Romero had won and the champion walked out still the champion
after even losing, neither of them would have been happy with that.
No, and then they would have to do the immediate rematch, and it's.
I feel like a fight like that needs more time than just an immediate rematch. I feel like an immediate rematch would have been bad.
If they want to do this fight a 3rd time, I'll watch it.
Oh yeah, no, definitely I'll watch it.
These guys take chunks out of each other each time they fight. Like they just Whitaker blew out his knee in the first fight, broke his thumb in this fight.
He's always
Romero's
getting
eyeball was all around.
It was an impressive fight to watch, but no, if they want to do a 3rd one, I'm not going to complain. I feel like it would be a little unnecessary considering that,
Whitaker's 2-0 now.
Yeah, and so, like, but
let's let Whitaker recover from, the broken thumb, whatever else. I'd say let's do Whitaker versus Kelvin Gastelum.
Yeah.
Kelvin Gastelum's on that hot streak, just beat Jacare. And maybe we do Romero versus Jacare.
I was just thinking that. I was literally just thinking that.
Or I'm trying to think of who else is up there in the top of the division. Maybe Jacare, or I don't know if they'd want to match Romero up against Weidman with Romero coming off a loss, Weidman coming off a win. But I say, Romero versus Weidman, Jacare, they're both going to be rematches. But at this point, if they want to build the potential of doing that 3rd fight, they're going to have to give him somebody
else
that's towards the top of the division.
Yeah,
because
give somebody else a chance.
If they're going to throw him towards the bottom of the division, well, actually, I'm thinking about it now. I think Dave Branch was calling out Jacare for a fight in Brazil. So they might do, if they're going to look to propel Romero towards another fight, then they'll give him somebody towards the top of the division. If not, they're going to give him somebody towards the bottom of the division and make him work his way up, which, considering he missed weight in his 2nd straight fight, they might be like, all right, dude, you've had your shots.
Get your shit together.
Prove us that, earn it again.
Yeah.
But
Either
Hell of a
way,
card, man.
no matter which way it goes, I'm gonna watch it. But yes,
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen
hell of a
of
card.
UFC 225.
Yeah, that was a great
Well worth
great
it.
performance. You know, something that I've had I can't stop thinking about it the entire time. When we first put out news about this card last week, when you click on it, you know how you see like the whole world comments and stuff like that. Not just the people on our friends' Facebook page. The first comment I kept on seeing was this guy, just some random dude, who was like, "The UFC's a joke. All their cards are shit now." And I'm so happy that this card went the way it did and just completely proved that asshole wrong. Because this was a fantastic card. It was super fun, super entertaining, and this is what the UFC this is what the UFC needs right now. It needs fantastic cards with new potential, new faces, along with some of the older vets, the people that are familiar with, and it's just, they did a really good one. I'm super happy with this card.
Problem with the current pay-per-view model, though, according to sources in the sports world, this did less than 150,000 pay-per-view buys.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Well, man, they're expensive, dude. Not everybody has just like
Yeah, they keep raising the price, and they're
60,
doing them more
70
frequently.
bucks to just fucking drop to watch a couple hours worth of fights when you can do what we did and just watch them for free later.
Thanks, guy.
I'm just saying.
I've recorded the Fox Sports 1 prelims. I have Fight Pass, so we watch those on Fight Pass. And the main card, I don't know how we watched them, but we did.
I just see bits and pieces of all the main card ones. The only full fights.
Just leave it alone. Just shut up and leave it alone.
I'm just saying the only full fights I actually got to see were the ones that were free, which it sucks, man, because it seems like all the good fights they put on, I never get to watch because I don't have the money to buy them.
Shut up. Alright, so again, hats off to UFC 225. No UFC card on this weekend. I'm going to go ahead and say that. There's one next weekend, which we'll get to next week.
No.
Moving on to some boxing news.
Yeah, I just realized we've been at this for an hour.
Over an hour, actually.
We had a lot of stuff to talk about for that card.
Yeah, I like actually having a conversation about the fights, not just like, this guy won! Next fight!
It was cool! Next fight!
What did he do? Won! You know, it's boring to me. I'd rather I'd rather have an audience that's willing to sit down and listen to two people have a conversation than guys who are just gonna be like, where's the fucking highlight, bro? You're not gonna show him getting knocked out there. No, I just...
Yeah, and if you wanted to know who won the fights, you can go look up who listed anyway. So I
if you're watching this, you care more about just the results.
Yeah, you can go look up the results on Google if you wanted to. But that's why we're doing this, because I wanted to give our opinions and see anybody else's opinions about it and stuff like that. And I enjoy it. So, it's nice.
If you don't like us, fuck off.
I think we've established this.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to touch up on the two fights that we didn't get to watch.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury blasted through that fellow. Sephiroth?
I think it was Sefer Safiri is what his name was.
I'll go with your pronunciation. Fourth round stoppage. Not surprised. Was what was expected. Would say who I'd like to see Tyson Fury fight next, but I think that fight is...
that's...
thinking we'll get to that in a moment, sir. Alright, so hats off Tyson Fury. Look forward to seeing you fight in a big fight next, not just a tune-up. Terence Crawford beat the brakes off Jeff Horn. Just beat the brakes off of him. Exactly kind of how I thought this fight was going to go. You know, I'm not going to say, oh, I knew he was going to stop him in the 9th round. I'm not going to do all that, but he just beat the hell out of Jeff Horn. That's what I expected. Terence Crawford is one of the top pound-for-pound guys in boxing right now. I don't think anybody would disagree with me when I say that. He is a legitimate world champion, a super talent. This is his 3rd world title in his 3rd weight class. You know, not his 3rd world. It's the 3rd world weight class that he's won a world title in. You know, fuck off. The guy unified the light welterweight division.
Yeah.
Unified it. one of the first guys in the past, 15 years or so to do that. Moves up, beats the hell out of a guy that's a world champion in the weight class above him. He's now going to look to do the same in that weight class, which is really going to be awesome to see. Really looking forward to seeing what he's going to do in the division. And for Jeff Horn, man, shake it off. Fight another day. You're still alive. You can still do good things. Just, take your bruises, take your lumps, get knocked down, you get right back up.
Like I said about losing, you learn a lot more than you do winning. Usually how it goes. It's how it always been for me.
Has defeated you. That's my really weak-ass Bane impression. So, we actually watched this fight over at your house. Leo Santa Cruz defeated Abner I always fuck up his name for some. Abner Mares?
Abner Mares? I think it was Mares. No, it's not Mares. Dude.
Two white dudes from Arkansas. We're sorry if we're screwing this up. I'm sorry. But good fight, man. Really good fight.
That was the one earlier in this episode when I was talking about the guy who had the catch parry and then the counter strike. That's the fight we were talking about.
Well, it's not just a catch parry because it was
bad term phrase.
Yeah,
sorry.
I'll break down this fight as kind of how I saw it happening is, and when I first watched it and then I rewatched it. So where Mares had success is when he would step in on Santa Cruz, and Santa Cruz just wasn't able to anticipate it. He just got the timing on the closing the distance very well. He did very well when Santa Cruz would step in, and he stepped in to meet him, and was able to land good short combinations upstairs and downstairs. And he also did well on the occasions where they both just met in the center. So when Mares was able to jam Santa Cruz, he did well. And when he was just able to step in on Santa Cruz, he did very well. Now, where he struggled was when Santa Cruz had him out on the end of that long-ass jab, the long 1-2s.
Dude, his jab was money. It was on point.
And where Santa Cruz would set the distance for the phone booth fight, but he could effectively work his shots on the inside. He almost shifted the phone booth as they were in it. He changed the distance. It's kind of hard for me to explain. But Santa Cruz did very well on stepping in, bop, 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 and then stepping back out and hitting him with that check hook or the counter jab, and that the little hand twist, the cat paw, Muay Thai, the cat paw.
What got me was his backhand. Because to me, every time I cat paw, it's with my lead hand because I try to anticipate the jab. But he was doing it with his backhand, like right next to his face. And it was impressive.
It's a different style of boxing in the way that you're anticipating it.
Yeah.
Because as guys, do you remember Travis talked to you about this?
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of guys who will jab across as opposed to jabbing straight.
Mm-hmm.
And Santa Cruz, I remember seeing this early in one of his fights. I first saw him doing it, and I thought he had broke his hand. But as I've watched more of his fights and I've become more familiar with his style, when he is on the outside and he's looking to play that long, rangy boxing game, he'll, because you notice he didn't do it every time jab.
He was only doing it.
He was very selective when he was doing it. He had a clear method of, it's like, okay, if I feel this, if I parry that, I can land a good shot.
It's the same.
Because you would see when he decided to step in on Mares, he wouldn't do it. He would bring the muffs up. He'd shell up. But awesome fight.
I love that system of parrying and counter punching, because the whole thing about it is once you feel that hand touch yours, you know that they're extended. No matter what hand it is, they're in a position where they're throwing a punch. So if you can throw that over or under, whatever you need to do that counter, it's so effective. I love it.
He did very well on when Mares thought he was safe, he would hit him.
Yeah.
Whether it was he stepped in and was they were both, whether Mares stepped in and he jammed Mares up on the inside, or if Mares stepped in to throw and he was moving back out, hitting him with the counter on, that check hook on the exit. It was. I'm sorry, my nose started itching. It was a very nice fight. Clear win for Santa Cruz. Makes Santa Cruz 2-0 over Mares, so I don't think there'll be a third fight. I mean, if they do fight a third time,
I'll watch it. Like, I don't care how many times they fight. I'll watch it. But
yeah, they are a fun matchup. Thought it was a little clear victory for Santa Cruz this go around. Not to, let me look at the majority decision for Santa Cruz in the first fight. But just great fight.
I enjoyed it. It was a good one. I still need to get...
There wasn't as much drama in this one. But...
No. I need to get more fluent with my boxing guys and stuff like that. And remembering all the faces. Thank you, Yoda.
I'll show you the
he just did that.
I'm gonna show him some real classic boxing, guys. I'm gonna educate this young man.
Watch, the next time we get on there, I'm gonna be spitting out names, and you'll be like, "Who?" And I'll be like, "This guy, Kyle. Watch."
Yeah, I'll start teaching you about Jack Johnson and Jack Dempsey.
I'm better at practicing it than I am learning people's names, man. You know me. But that's just me. I can't remember.
Well, that's one of the things is when you're not practicing, you need to be watching.
Well, I just can't remember people's names. That's my thing. Is I just can't remember people's names. That's all it is. Like I'll remember their face all day long.
That is
for the
why
rest
no
of my
one will
life.
remember your name. Got him. All right, so
Other than that, guys, there's not a whole lot going on this weekend. We really just kind of wanted to talk about this past UFC card this episode. Really get into detail about it. Tell you all our opinions about it.
And if we hadn't gone over so much time, I would go in depth more on those boxing matches. But one, I didn't get to watch the Crawford fight. I just read the highlights, read the play-by-play, listened to HBO guys talk about it, Kellerman and all them. Just like some review stuff. The Tyson Fury fight, it went exactly how it was expected. But as you notice, there was fucking, 12, 13 MMA fights to talk about.
Yeah.
And then, we had 3 boxing matches, of which we only got to thoroughly watch one.
Yeah. Well, it's tougher to... They don't have it on the most, viewed outlets, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's the Crawford Horn fight was on ESPN+.
And I think you have to have some kind of package to even get ESPN Plus.
It's an online kind of subscription-based thing. The Tyson Fury fight was, I don't even streamed or something. Sorry. The Santa Cruz and Mares fight was on Showtime. I don't have Showtime.
What do you want us to do, y'all? We gotta work with what we got. But all in all, I have nothing to complain about this past weekend. It was a fun weekend of fights. I'm actually kind of excited that there aren't any fights this weekend. It gives us a little time to kind of do a little bit more homework on some of the guys that are fixing to be fighting. Now we can give you a little bit more in-depth prediction than we did, because I know
right now we won't have to recap a whole set of fights before we talk about the next set.
Yeah, it'll have us a little bit more time to tell you what's coming up and collect a little bit more of the news that's going out, because there's a lot of bunch of side news tidbits that's going on and everything like that. Fights getting announced.
So, speaking of news,
fighters doing crazy shit.
Dana White's Contender Series is back up and running. First episode this past Tuesday. The whole Greg Hardy thing is kind of... It's only the few of you are going to know what I'm talking about there. So that'll be Tuesday nights. Obviously, Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. When else would it be? Conor McGregor's got a hearing set for July 26th for his whole throwing a dolly at a bus thing. Because, he decided to be an ass.
Who does that? I'm sorry. Who does that?
Yeah, I'm just...
Why a dollar? Was that just... in my head, I just picture him, walking out to the bus, real mad, and, that's the first thing he sees is that dollar. He's just like, book it! And he grabs it and just, I'm sorry. I'm retarded. I have the, ridiculous...
You can't say retarded.
I'm mentally handicapped. I just have the weirdest little snares that come in my hand.
That top knot is squeezing your brain. Top knot thought. So, anywho, big boxing news. By the time these two fights roll around, you're going to be able to have a conversation with me about all four of these fighters.
We'll see.
And be able to pick apart the idiosyncrasies and the nuances and understand their games.
Stop using words I don't know, Kyle.
So, Canelo and Triple G2 has been signed for, what was it, September 15th.
Wait, didn't we just say on the last episode that wasn't going to happen?
Well, on the last episode, negotiations broke down, and apparently somebody threw some money around, and hey, fight's happening. It's the fight game, people. So I'm really excited for this fight. I thought that Golovkin handily won. You know, I'm not going to say he dominated Canelo, but I thought he won handily in the first fight. Some people disagree with me. I don't care. It was a close fight, but I thought Golovkin edged it. I'm really looking forward to seeing them fight again. You know, Golovkin is 36 years old. Canelo will turn 28 here soon. So this is make or break time for this fight. We need a definitive goddamn ending to this. We need somebody to have that loss and that win, you know. We can't just have the draw. The draw is, you know, it with that horrible excuse of a judge's, you know, 118 1 whatever that she scored it for. I don't want to shit on her too bad, but that was a horrible scorecard. We need some closure, man. I want to know who's the best. I gotta see it.
He needs it.
Either
it.
Canelo's gonna have a 2 next to his loss category, or Golovkin's gonna have a 1. I want to know. Can you show me? Yeah, I was gonna sing a Disney song there. I'm gonna stop.
That'd be the second Disney reference you did tonight. Just.
So, anywho, really looking forward to that fight. We're gonna get in real depth once I've got him brushed up on his boxing for these guys. Another really awesome. Apparently, terms have been agreed upon for Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder.
That'll be a good one.
Really, really, really happy about that fight. That is my favorite fight in heavyweight boxing right now. There's not a fight I want to see more when it comes to heavyweight boxers. We're really going to have to do some breakdowns for these fights. Tentatively, that's, I think, being aimed for September, October, if what I've read was correct. I'm thinking more towards October because it wouldn't make sense for them to try and compete with Canelo and Triple G.
Speaking of breakdowns, I was thinking, since we're going to be getting real in-depth on some of the analysis of some of these fights that are going on, especially ones that aren't your typical like mainstream like MMA, things like that, because not everybody does watch boxing, not everybody watches MMA, things like that. I've been thinking about doing like a little smaller, like shorter episode thing of just analysis on just say one particular fight that people are excited to see. Just throwing out ideas there. So
yeah, as we get on a God damn it.
Hey, for our we've been having a pretty good streak.
Yeah, well, I was
this.
thinking fight talk, and then there was that
Sorry,
you just
man,
did. And no, it's once we get the SoundCloud back up and we put episodes on there, we can do just shorter like single fight talks on the Facebook live stream. You know, get the YouTube live stream set up. You know, I do want to do shorter, just, you know, talk about this fight here and there and be able to, you know, have clips and segments.
Y'all gonna see us everywhere.
But as of right now, this is the best we can do, so
Deal with it.
yeah, suck it up. Now, back to the
We're
goddamn fight
so
that I was
mean
talking
to our
about.
viewers.
Look, man, you know, it's... These guys start giving us some comments and some shares.
Continue on the fight talk, Kyle. I'm sorry.
You get me all fucking frazzled here. I'm trying to talk about Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. So, I'm really looking forward to that fight. You know, Golovkin, Canelo, 2 and Joshua Wilder is like my number 1 and 2 fights that could be made in boxing right now. And I'm really excited that they're happening. Got anything else?
Man, I think that's about it.
We've gone on for about an hour and a damn half.
Yeah,
now.
This is probably our longest episode.
We had a lot of good fights to recap.
Man, there was a lot of them. It's been a while since we've had a card where almost every single fight, besides maybe like 2, were fantastic.
Yeah,
or entertaining.
So, as always, find us on Facebook, Martial Arts Talk.
Like, comment, share, all of it.
Subscribe, follow, all that jazz. Follow us on Twitter at Martial Art Talk. You can follow me on Twitter at JimCracken93 if for some reason you want to. I don't know.
I'm getting my Twitter set up too, so you'll be able to follow me somewhere. I just haven't figured out where at yet.
Yeah, you have an account because you're still following the podcast page.
Yeah, I just haven't touched it in so long that it's out of date. I need to redo it. So that'll be fixed here shortly, but you guys know where to find us. Give us a listen. Tell us what you guys think. And please do comment. Give us, even if it's not listening to the whole thing, if you just want to listen to a particular fight bit, fast forward through it, listen to us.
If you will tell us what fight you want to hear us talk about, I will go in and I will find a time spot and I will put it in the comment section. Be like, looking for this fight, go to this point.
Yeah.
Can't do that though if you don't ask for which fight you want to hear about.
But like always, guys, it's been fun. Coven.
Kyle.
Peace, guys.
Tits. Oh, God. We got to get a tech guy.